When In the House 1995 to 1999 aired, it felt safe, funny, and full of promise. But once the cameras stopped, time rewrote everything. Some careers survived, others collapsed, and a few lives took turns no sitcom could have imagined. What really happened? Let's uncover who they became and honor the legacies they left behind. LL. Cool J as Marion Hill. James Todd Smith was born on January 14, 1968, in Bay Shore, Long Island, New York. At 27 years old, LL Cool J played Marion Hill, the former NFL running back forced to rebuild his life as a landlord and surrogate father figure, in the House, 1995 to 1999. That lead role proved he wasn't just a rapper with charisma. He could carry a sitcom on his shoulders and still feel believable. And yet the real pressure was waiting off-camera, in the life he was trying to protect. In 1995, the same year his series life began, he married Simone Johnson, then tried to balance fame with something Hollywood rarely allows, a marriage that doesn't burn down in public. While his career demanded constant motion, albums, touring, and the expectations of staying LL Cool J every day, his home demanded a different version of him, patient, present, consistent. Then illness struck the marriage in a way money and fame couldn't intimidate. Simone was diagnosed with stage 3 bone cancer, and suddenly the strong one wasn't the man on stage. He kept working, but the stakes changed. Success stopped being about charts and started being about time, hospital walls, and the quiet terror of losing the person who anchored everything. Even as he collected Grammys and later reinvented himself through long-running television success like NCIS, Los Angeles, the emotional weight of that period sounded like survival. Now, LL Cool J is 57 years old. He remains active across music and television, continuing his screen legacy through the NCIS universe while still performing as a hip-hop pioneer, with an estimated net worth around $120 million. Money that reflects decades of wins, but can't measure what it took to keep a marriage alive when illness tried to erase it. Maya Campbell as Tiffany Warren. Maya Campbell was born on November 26, 1976, in Tacoma Park, Maryland. At 19 years old, Maya Campbell played Tiffany Warren, the sharp, outspoken teenage daughter, on In the House, 1995 to 1999. The role anchored the emotional rhythm of the show and positioned her as one of television's most promising young actresses of the decade. However, during the later years of filming, Maya was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, a moment that quietly but decisively changed her life. Mood swings, paranoia, and emotional volatility began to overpower structure and routine, turning daily work and personal relationships into fragile negotiations. As peers moved forward with stable careers after projects like Poetic Justice, 1993, Maya found herself fighting an internal battle that fame could not shield her from. Her personal life unraveled alongside her health. After giving birth to her daughter in 2000, Maya lost custody when untreated illness escalated into instability and legal trouble. Public shock came years later through viral videos showing erratic behavior, but behind them were repeated hospitalizations, mandatory psychiatric confinement. Today, Maya Campbell is 49 years old. She lives quietly, focused on treatment and survival rather than a return to acting, her estimated net worth hovering around $500,000, shaped less by success than by years spent paying the emotional and financial cost of mental illness. Alfonso Ribeiro as Dr. Maxwell Stanton. Alfonso Ribeiro was born on September 21, 1971 in New York City, New York. At 24 years old, Alfonso Ribeiro played Dr. Maxwell Stanton, the ambitious doctor and romantic lead inside the household's chaos, in the House, 1995 to 1999. The role helped him step out of Carlton and prove he could evolve beyond a single iconic character. But while he was rebuilding his career image, his personal life was quietly setting him up for a different kind of fall. His first marriage began with hope and ended in rupture. 4 years that left behind a divorce in 2006, and the kind of emotional whiplash celebrities rarely describe honestly. When a relationship breaks, he kept moving forward. He rebuilt again, and in 2012 he married Angela Unkrich, creating a second home and a larger family with 3 children. His career surged in a different direction, not chasing roles, but becoming a reliable face of television itself, especially after winning Dancing with the Stars and later returning as a host. Even the famous Carlton dance came back like a ghost with teeth, when he sued over its use in Fortnite and then had to withdraw after the law refused to treat a dance like propert. Today, Alfonso Ribeiro is 54 years old. He continues thriving as a major TV host, most visibly on Dancing with the Stars and America's Funniest Home Videos, with an estimated net worth around $10 million, a fortune built on reinvention, and a life shaped by the quiet truth that even funny people sometimes survive heartbreak twice. Kim Wayans, as Tonya Harris. Kim Wayans was born on October 16, 1961, in New York City, New York. At 34 years old, Kim Wayans played Tonya Harris, the warm, grounded love interest who steadied the household's emotional chaos, in the House, 1995 to 1998. That part mattered because it proved she could hold a sitcom's heart without hiding behind punchlines. Then her career demanded an even riskier leap. For years, Kim carried the invisible weight of being a Wayans, the sister in a legendary comedy family. After the spotlight of In Living Color, the industry tried to keep her boxed in as funny, even when her ambition was deeper than jokes. When she stepped into Pariah, 2011, she walked straight into a role built on pain, Audrey, a conservative mother whose love turns sharp because she's terrified of what she can't control. The performance shocked audiences who only remembered her comedy, and it forced Hollywood to finally see her vulnerability as power, earning her major recognition through Black Reel and NAACP Image Award nominations. But the cost of that transformation was psychological, not glamorous. Dramatic acting wasn't just a new genre. It meant stripping away the protective armor of comedy and letting the camera sit on her silence, her grief, her anger, and the shame that mothers carry when they think they're losing their children. That tension between family legacy and personal identity made every step forward feel like it could collapse into comparison. Today, Kim Wayans is 64 years old. She continues working in entertainment in a more controlled, behind-the-scenes rhythm, acting, writing, and directing, while protecting her private life from the kind of noise that once tried to define her. With an estimated net worth around $8 million, her success looks comfortable on paper, but the real victory is harder to price. She escaped the label people gave her and did it without losing her own voice. Lark Voorhies as Mercedes Langford. Lark Voorhies was born on March 25, 1974 in Nashville, Tennessee. At 23 years old, Lark Voorhies played Mercedes Langford, the composed aspirational partner of Max Stanton, on In the House, 1997 to 1999. The role reinforced her image as a polished, intelligent presence on screen, extending the popularity she had earned years earlier. However, off-camera, her reality was far less controlled. Lark was living with schizoaffective disorder, a condition that blurred emotional regulation and perception, slowly eroding her ability to navigate relationships and professional expectations. As her illness intensified, the momentum built by Saved by the Bell and later films like How to Be a Player, 1997, became increasingly difficult to sustain. Her romantic life reflected that strain. An engagement to Martin Lawrence collapsed under pressure, followed by a marriage that ended in divorce, and a second union that disintegrated within months. Each separation compounded emotional exhaustion, while public speculation and tabloid narratives deepened the isolation she was already experiencing, turning personal pain into public spectacle. Today, Lark Voorhies is 51 years old. She lives outside constant media glare, writing, speaking selectively, and managing her condition with care, her estimated net worth around $500,000. Her story stands as a quiet reminder that fame can arrive early, but stability does not always follow. DJ Daniels as Rodney. DJ Daniels was born on October 17, 1988 in Montclair, California. At 8 years old, DJ Daniels played Rodney, the mischievous neighborhood kid, in the House, 1996. The role placed him inside a major sitcom world and quietly cemented him as a recognizable child actor of the era. That early exposure opened doors that seemed destined to stay open. As he grew older, DJ transitioned smoothly into higher profile work, most notably as Michael Hewley on The Hewleys, where he became a weekly presence in millions of homes. He later appeared in the Disney superhero film Sky High, 2005, a project that positioned him at the edge of a new phase in his career. From the outside, the path looked steady, even safe, but the space between childhood fame and adult stability proved far more fragile than it appeared. Everything shattered in 2011 when he was arrested and charged with murder following a fatal stabbing during an altercation. Months in jail, courtrooms, and headlines followed, turning a former child star into a national cautionary tale. Although he was fully acquitted in 2012, the stain of accusation lingered, silently erasing opportunities and leaving his earlier work to feel like a distant, unfinished life. Today, DJ Daniels is 37 years old. He lives quietly, far from Hollywood, carrying an estimated net worth of around $200,000, a stark contrast to the trajectory once promised by In the House and Sky High. John Amos as Coach Sam Wilson. John Amos was born on December 27, 1939, in Newark, New Jersey. At 56 years old, John Amos played Coach Sam Wilson, the disciplined, no-nonsense mentor, in the House, 1995 to 1997. The role reinforced what audiences already believed about him: authority, integrity, and emotional gravity. It served as a late-career echo of the father figures that had defined his legacy. Long before that, John Amos had shaped television history through Good Times and delivered one of the most powerful performances ever seen on American screens as the adult Kunta Kinte in Roots. Those roles earned him awards, nominations, and cultural reverence, but they also set an impossibly high bar that followed him for decades. Even as his career stretched beyond 50 years, the pressure of legacy weighed heavier with time. In his final years, the pain no script could soften arrived from within his own family. Public disputes erupted over his care, finances, and health, dragging a proud, aging icon into court filings and media scrutiny. As illness weakened his body, emotional strain isolated him. Finally, John Amos died at 84 years old on August 21, 2024, from congestive heart failure, his passing revealed weeks later. He was cremated quietly, leaving behind an estimated $500,000 net worth and a legacy far richer than money. Debbie Allen as Jackie Warren. Debbie Allen was born on January 16, 1950, in Houston, Texas. At 45 years old, Debbie Allen played Jackie Warren, the driven adult anchor who brought authority and maturity into the household, in the House, 1995 to 1996. The role mattered because it showcased her range beyond dance and choreography, but her real life was already running at a pace that could break most people. Her first marriage ended in divorce in 1983, and that ending followed her into the next chapter like a bruise you don't show in public. In 1984, she married Norm Nixon, and what looks like stability from the outside came with a relentless internal demand to be a wife, a mother, and a powerhouse in an industry that punishes women for slowing down. While many artists collapse under that pressure, Debbie kept stacking responsibilities until exhaustion became something she learned to hide behind professionalism. The strain wasn't just emotional, it was structural. Debbie became the kind of woman who carried entire productions, building reputations not only through performance, but through leadership, directing dozens of episodes and shaping the tone of major television. As her career expanded into the machine of Grey's Anatomy, she was no longer only the talent in front of the camera. She became the person making the camera move. Today, Debbie Allen is 75 years old. She remains active as a performer, director, and producer, continuing her long reign through television while nurturing new talent through her dance academy. With an estimated net worth around $14 million, her legacy isn't just awards or money. It's the shocking truth that she built endurance into an art form and kept going even when life demanded more than a human body should have to give. Jeffrey Wood as Austin Warren. Jeffrey Wood was born on December 22, 1986, in Manhattan, New York. At just 9 years old, Jeffrey Wood played Austin Warren, the curious, emotionally observant child who often mirrored the audience's own reactions in the House, 1995 to 1996. The role mattered because Austin grounded the sitcom's family dynamic, adding innocence and emotional realism to a show driven largely by adult humor and conflict. That early exposure made Jeffrey a familiar face at a very young age, and it quietly defined how the industry would see him. After In the House, Jeffrey did not vanish overnight. He moved deliberately between television and theater, landing a longer, more demanding arc as Jimmy Harrison on the NBC soap Sunset Beach, 1997 to 1999, where the pace was relentless and emotional continuity mattered every single day. Around the same time, he appeared in series such as New York Undercover and The Parent 'Hood, learning how to adapt from child roles into more complex teenage parts. He also continued stage work, including his time in the Tony Award-winning revival of Carousel, where discipline replaced applause and craft mattered more than recognition. As adulthood arrived, the shift was not dramatic. It was quiet and unsettling. Auditions became rarer, roles smaller, and the certainty of childhood momentum faded. Jeffrey kept working through commercials, guest spots, and voice work, refusing to disappear even when the spotlight dimmed. Years later, his appearance in the live-action Destiny 2 trailer, 2017, reminded audiences of his presence, not as a former child star, but as a performer who had survived the transition few manage successfully. Today, Jeffrey Wood is 39 years old. He lives largely outside Hollywood's noise, choosing balance and longevity over constant exposure, with an estimated net worth of around $500,000. A quiet testament to endurance rather than spectacle. Ken Lawson as Carl. Ken Lawson was born on January 19, 1976, in West Covina, California. At 20 years old, Ken Lawson played Carl, the confident, street-smart roommate who injected youthful edge and ambition into the household, in the House, 1996 to 1999. The role mattered because it shifted the show's energy, helping modernize its later seasons and giving Ken his first true foothold on network television. That visibility became the bridge to something much bigger. When The Parkers premiered in 1999, Ken's career finally accelerated. His portrayal of Thaddeus T. Tyrell Jr. turned him into a staple of black television week after week, season after season. The success was real and sustained, and it carried him through more than 100 episodes, alongside roles in films like Malibu's Most Wanted and Steppin' the Movie. But that same success quietly narrowed perception. Audiences loved him in one lane, and the industry struggled to imagine him elsewhere. After The Parkers ended, opportunities slowed, and the pause that followed felt less like a break and more like being gently pushed aside. Ken stepped back, regrouped, and continued working through smaller projects rather than chasing relevance. Years later, he returned steadily with In the Cut, 2015 to present, reclaiming screen presence without trying to recreate the past, and adding later appearances such as The Oval, proving durability mattered more than hype. Today, Ken Lawson is 49 years old. He remains active on television, grounded, consistent, and intentionally private, with an estimated net worth of about $1 million, earned not through overnight fame, but through persistence, patience, and the refusal to let one defining role be the end of the story. Lisa Arrindell Anderson as Heather Comstock. Lisa Arrindell Anderson was born on March 24, 1969, in the Bronx, New York. At 26 years old, Lisa Arrindell Anderson played Heather Comstock, the intelligent, composed romantic presence, in the House, 1995. The role mattered because it positioned her as a credible dramatic actress inside a mainstream sitcom. From there, her career moved forward quietly. She married Basil Anderson in 1993, at the very moment her acting life was beginning to stabilize, and for years her professional growth ran parallel to building a family. Unlike many of her peers, she did not chase fame aggressively. Instead, she chose consistency, appearing in films like Medea's Family Reunion, 2006, and later The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, 2017. That balance came at a cost. As the years passed, the strain of sustaining both marriage and a long-term acting career became impossible to ignore. In 2015, her marriage ended in divorce, closing a 22-year chapter of shared life and quiet compromise. The separation forced a recalibration of identity at an age when reinvention is rarely celebrated. Today, Lisa Arrindell Anderson is 56 years old. She continues working steadily across film, television, and stage, respected for endurance rather than celebrity, with an estimated net worth of about $2 million. Mel Jackson as Graham Parks. Mel Jackson was born on October 13, 1970, in Chicago, Illinois. At 27 years old, Mel Jackson played Graham Parks, the smooth, emotionally reserved professional, in the House, 1997 to 1999. The role mattered because it positioned him as a believable romantic lead and marked a shift from brief guest appearances into more grounded adult ensemble work. It was a subtle but important turning point, suggesting a career ready to deepen rather than flash. After In the House, Mel's visibility grew through projects that carried cultural weight instead of tabloid noise. His work in soul food began with the 1997 film and extended into the long-running television series, placing him inside stories centered on Black family, loyalty, faith, and quiet sacrifice. Around the same period, Deliver Us from Eva, 2003, showed his ability to stand confidently opposite dominant personalities without losing emotional control. He also appeared in The Temptations miniseries, where discipline and restraint mattered more than scene stealing, reinforcing his reputation as a dependable, serious actor. Rather than chasing sudden stardom, Mel's career unfolded in steady, measured chapters. Appearances on Living Single, later film work such as Abduction of Jesse Bookman, and stage tours like Love on Layaway kept him working, respected, and grounded. Each project added credibility, even when the spotlight remained modest. His path never exploded, but it never collapsed either. A balance few managed to maintain. Today, Mel Jackson is 55 years old. He continues to work selectively across film, television, and stage, choosing longevity over noise, with an estimated net worth of about $1 million, built through consistency, patience, and a career that refused to burn out for attention. Luis Antonio Ramos as Tito Gonzalez. Luis Antonio Ramos was born on July 13, 1973, in San Germán, Puerto Rico. At 24 years old, Luis Antonio Ramos played Tito Gonzalez, the street-smart, grounded supporting figure in the House, 1997 to 1998. The role mattered because it strengthened his reputation as a dependable character actor who could bring authenticity to ensemble casts. That reputation would become the foundation of his entire career. Rather than chasing leading man fame, Luis built a life inside the machinery of television itself. Appearances on Martin, New York Undercover, Early Edition, and later Power placed him repeatedly in worlds shaped by crime, loyalty, and moral ambiguity, where his presence felt lived in rather than performed. Films like The Huntress added recognition, including award nominations that acknowledged craft instead of celebrity. Over time, that consistency became his signature. He moved fluidly between network dramas, procedurals, and independent films, while theater work kept his performances sharp and grounded. Today, Luis Antonio Ramos is 52 years old. He remains active in television and film, honored for cultural impact as much as performance, with an estimated net worth of around $2 million, a reflection of longevity, discipline, and a career built brick by brick rather than overnight. Gabrielle Carmouche, as Raynell Gabrielle Carmouche, was born on May 22, 1978, in Lexington, Kentucky. At around 18 to 21 years old, Gabrielle Carmouche played Raynell, the gentle, emotionally present young woman who brought warmth and stability to the household. In the House, 1996 to 1999. The role mattered because it helped soften the later seasons of the series, giving viewers a quieter emotional anchor as storylines shifted. That moment marked the peak of her on-screen visibility. Before and during. In the House, Gabrielle had already built a recognizable television resume. She appeared on The Cosby Show, Big Brother Jake, and other family-centered sitcoms that defined black television in the late 1980s and early 1990s. These roles demanded poise and natural presence rather than spectacle, and she delivered that consistently. Yet as she grew older, the industry's interest thinned, and the transition from young supporting actress to adult roles became painfully narrow. Like many former child and teen actors, she faced the shock of realizing that talent and experience did not guarantee continuity, and that survival sometimes meant stepping away before bitterness set in. In 2025, Gabrielle Carmouche is 47 years old. She has reshaped her life behind the camera, working professionally as a makeup artist while remaining connected to the creative world that once defined her, with an estimated net worth of about $800,000, a testament not to fame, but to resilience, reinvention, and choosing stability over disappearance. 30 years later, the laughter still echoes. But the lives behind In the House, 1995 to 1999, have changed in ways few could have imagined. So now we ask you, which In the House cast story surprised you the most after 30 years? Whose journey felt the most heartbreaking? And whose resilience inspired you? Leave a comment, share this video with a fellow 90s TV fan, and don't forget to subscribe for more then and now stories that reveal what really happened after the final episode aired.